Hello, hello. Okay, hey. Welcome to what are we on here? Session 16. Sorry, I haven't called them episodes. Episode 16 of my my D&D BECMI Basic Expert Companion Master Immortal. I almost forgot what the I stood for. Campaign solo play, just me using Roll20, my books, Mythic, a bunch of other utilities here, I guess, really, and that's pretty much it there. Yeah. So, but when the hell was the last time I played here? It was probably about 3 weeks ago. Shit, yeah, 3-ish weeks ago. Uh, so when we last left off, our party of 4 adventurers had just left Fenris Keep, which again we're doing. I'm currently running through the Keep on the Borderlands. If you have followed this at all, well, first of all, thank you for putting up with my bullshit. Second, you probably remember that this started off as a hex crawl game, and after losing 3 characters, I believe it was early on, if I can check my graveyard here. Sorry, 4 characters early on there. I kind of shifted my focus. I decided I wanted to start running at least start with or kind of refocus by getting a sorry by getting a classic module kind of going. Well, some of them work, some of them might work, some of them might not for kind of my own creation here. But the one that I felt would work the best was the Keep on the Borderlands, because it really just kind of sets it on the border of the realms, is the way I think it's phrased in the adventure. So kind of like on the, I would say like the border of the territory of people, of men, of humans, and such. So that's kind of what I'm going with. I think that Fenris Keep is, which you will see. This is it right here. I think Fenris Keep, the Keep on the Borderlands, is the furthest, the furthest vestige of human civilization for this barony or kingdom or whatever. I haven't quite figured out exactly what it is. I'm thinking it's probably a small kingdom. Possibly with some local barons or dukes or something like that, kind of holding sway over certain areas. So our characters here, our heroes, if you will. We have Leocadia, first level thief. Rowan, a first level magic user. Feistus is a first level fighter. And Eddard is a first level cleric. So I tried running this as kind of like a starting off like with 1 player character and then trying to add more to the party, and all that did was just keep getting my player characters killed. So we've kind of fast forwarded a little bit, and Leocadia and Rowan, who kind of came into the campaign back when it was way over here in Port Cyric, have made their way to Fenris Keep, understanding about something about the Caves of Chaos and some likely treasure that is available there. If we back up just quickly, when they arrived in the keep, there were 2 rumors that they heard. One was that some weeks back they had heard that in the area around the keep, if you get lost, beware the Eater of Men. So they know there's something out there, or they've heard that there's possibly something out there that's dangerous. Because that didn't really give them a good reason to be there. I've kind of furthered things with. I rolled for another random rumor that they know prior to arriving, and this is how they know of the Caves of Chaos. There are tribes of different creatures that live in different caves, so they know there are caves out there. I kind of made a little bit of a sense. So this is the road leading kind of beyond Fenris Keep. I'm just going to move the token here. So Fenris Keep kind of comes up through here. This is all based kind of semi-loosely on the on the area map in the keep on the Borderlands. I'm not sure if it's quite to scale, but I don't care. This is kind of what I'm going with. So, we last left off here. We were in scene number 17. Again, I do not reset numbers when we are dealing with different situations or different, adventures or whatever. I just keep the scene number. I don't know. I like the flow of the scene numbers going up. I know how many scenes that have happened. Although the scenes in this campaign are meant to be a little more loose in how I dictate kind of how the scenes go, and a little more open-ended sometimes. So they had left the next morning here. They had gone, after dealing with this, deciding, kind of getting some rest, spending some time in Fenris Keep. They tried and failed to hire some mercenaries because they lowballed them, and the mercenaries were insulted and just basically went, nope, screw you guys, you're on your own. So they spent another evening in the inn, in the keep, and then set out the next morning, hit the provisioner's store, bought some provisions there, including some rations, and set out on the road by mid-morning. They kind of have some directions as to how to get to the Caves of Chaos. So they set out heading east along the road. They have to first come kind of around, down out of the keep that's kind of high in these, it's almost a mountainous region, but I'm calling, just where the keep is set high on kind of a cliff, with a path going up. It's good for defense. They kind of come down out of that, catch the crossroad, and instead of heading kind of to the west, which is where they came from only a day or so, whatever earlier, they head east along the road, knowing that the Caves of Chaos are out there. Now, I know where the Caves of Chaos are on the map. That would be over here in this square. The party probably has a sense as to where it is, but I might make things a little difficult. They need to kind of scout out a little bit to try to find it. They know it's probably off the road a bit. They know it's a few kilometers outside of town. Each of these hexes is meant to represent 5 kilometers across. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I believe movement is usually set at about, is it 30 kilometers a day? Usually these things are in miles, but I really hate dealing with miles. Let me check my notes here. That is not what I'm looking for. We have resting and such like that for some rules. Natural healing. Party treasure, which should be empty. Yes. Retainer, session notes, useful links. Okay, let's do a quick check here to get a sense as to travel. So this is the expert rulebook here. There's something on travel. 41 should have some information on travel. Oops, too far. Movement rates. Let's see here. Should read the player information on wilderness travel. Movement rates. Okay, let's go to page 2021. Movement rates. So, 8. Slows movement rate in the party. So, round. Alright, so I'm seeing a relation to movement rates of 90. So basically, that's kind of figuring out what their movement rate is, and I'm not sure I've got movement rates on here. Let's find out. Katie is missing her saving throws. Base movement is 120. Is that going to be true for everybody? 120. 120, and I'm thinking I think humans are just probably 120 as their base movement. Okay, so how does it determine? Because it's saying if they have a 90-foot per turn, which is their base movement, they can travel 18 miles a day. So 90 divided by 5 is 18. Okay, so at 120 by... Is that right? So 120... So we're dealing with 24 miles a day? Yeah. Yeah, actually, that does seem about right. I need to do a quick conversion here. So 38 kilometers a day. I'm going to round that. And so we're going to do this, and we're going to... Actually, I'm going to open up our campaign notes here. I'm sorry, not the notes. The setup. So our party movement per day is 40 kilometers, based on 120 feet base movement divided by 5, just 24 miles. So again, I'm Canadian. I hate miles. I don't understand miles. I can do a rough calculation, but I usually need a calculator, like I just used. So the party sets out in search of the Caves of Chaos. They are traveling along a road on each side, surrounded by a thick wilderness. Both, the tree canopy kind of above, and the road. The road is probably a little rough in this area. A rough, narrow road surrounded by trees on both sides. That's not a good way to put it, but you know what I mean. Trees on both sides, very heavy foliage, heavy bush, yeah. And they set out. However, I'm thinking they're probably going, because they're looking for the Caves of Chaos, they're not going to move their full move. They're going to be moving slowly in the hopes of looking for any trace of where the caves are, because they don't believe that it's like right off the road. Half movement. Per day. Any sign of the Caves of Chaos. So they set out, moving slowly, keeping an eye out. But I'm sure for the first, kilometer or two, it's probably at a normal pace until they get a little farther away from Fenris Keep, and actually into the wilderness, away from kind of the odd little foothills almost of the keep. They will set off and head east. Now, how do we deal with wandering monsters in Keep on the Borderlands? Okay, let's see here. The wilderness. So there are other features. Just again, this that could there are other features that could lead to other adventures in the area. Should they actually go looking for them or run across them? Because if we open up, if you've ever looked at this is the map that comes from. Well, this is in the PDF, of course, but this is an exact replica of the map from the early 80s, I believe it was, or maybe it was the end of the 70s. When did this first come out? A very long time ago, anyway. 1981 was the keep on the Borderlands. So, if we use that as a basis here, there are a bunch of other features on this map that they can potentially run into, as well as kind of beyond where the actual Caves of Chaos are. There's these Caves of the Unknown, or Cave of the Unknown, suggesting an opportunity to expand upon the area. But that's actually for the Dungeon Master to do. There's no Cave of the Unknown in the module itself. There are also, looking here, what we have is mostly forested area with some hills, kind of, almost mountainous in the way they are, big steep cliffs and such, as well as some marshy, swampy area and a river that kind of follows to the south of the road a little bit. The guys are going to be sticking to the road as much as possible until they are sure they know kind of where they're going here. So they're going to set off here. So let's see. Caves of Chaos. Sorry, adventures outside the keep. Normal movement rate is 1 square per hour searching. Actually, that kind of... Sorry, I'm not doing this in squares though, so I'll ignore all of that and go with my own stuff here. So, camping outdoors overnight. Nothing will bother the party when camped outdoors unless they are within 6 squares of a numbered encounter area. I'm just going to base that on whether they are near one of the areas on the map. Organized party is supposed to lease a guard. Also take note of what provisions the party brought. We have other things going on. Whatever. Also take note of what provisions are brought with the party. They are adventuring, not hunting, and so they should not expect to find food. They should bring enough food and water with them. If not, when the party eats all the food, they will either have to try their luck at hunting, a one chance in 6 to catch food for 1 day for D6 men, or return to the keep to restock their supplies. So at least I know kind of how hunting's going to work. So there's no random encounter just kind of for travel there. However, I know there's random encounter stuff within this edition of D&D, and I think I'm going to be using that. Because apparently I'm really mean to myself as a game master here. Wandering monsters. We do have wandering monster tables. And we're just going to basically go on with that. So I'm going to ask basically, like, during the day, are they going to end up with a wandering monster to deal with? Are they going to end up with an encounter? So it's a 1 in 6 chance. I forget, how did we deal with this? Was it a D6? D48 here. Pretty sure it's a D6. I can't remember whether 1 or 6 is supposed to be the... yeah, so a 1. So I'm calling it a 1 in this area, unless they are too close to one of these areas. Just for reference here, I guess. Should they end up close to them, those areas are... this is one of these difficult things to kind of manage as well, because I want to be careful, how much they know. But basically, they would have to be somewhat deep into the wilderness up here, kind of north of the keep, I guess. Or they would have to be down into this swampland area, or again down here in the bush, or even further, or even down here kind of in the forested area here. So basically they would kind of have to step off the path a fair bit, nowhere near the Caves of Chaos should they kind of start walking into areas that are, should they end up in areas that are potentially dangerous to camp in. But we're going to kind of come back around here. We're going to roll our d6. We're going to call it a 1 in 6 chance still here. Do they run into something? No. Okay, no wandering monster today. They are in search of any clues as to what might find. So I'm thinking our marching order is probably going to be something we should set up. This is just kind of a... so we're actually let's do this. Our marching order, we will keep... my map. There we go. Our marching order along the road is Leocadia first. She's the rogue. I'm thinking followed by Eddard. Rowan cannot be in the first or last in the party. He's just too squishy. And at the back, we'll put Feistus. That also kind of works for Leocadia. She probably suggests that. You know, I think it would be a good idea if a strong fighter like you took up the rear. And you just stayed back there. Keep an eye on Rowan, if you don't mind. You could protect him. And she kind of feeds into that, feeds into his ego as a fighter. Yes, I will do that. Yes, I shall protect you. I shall protect your ass. I mean your rear. And they head off. How am I going to deal with anything kind of tracking related? Is there anything in the books? Thief tracking, hit taxes, terrain effects. No, possibly not there. Tracking. Traps, types to hit. Nothing. Okay. However, Leocadia is a thief. I'm thinking, she is probably the one to kind of look for things. Open logs, find traps, remove traps, climb walls, move silently, hide in shadows, pickpockets, hear noise. However, we also have I'm trying to remember, do we have a general spot roll? We have saving throws, although that's not really what I was thinking, because that doesn't really help. Plus, skills. I have a dog that's interrupting me for some reason. Oh no, our movement is 90. Why did I say base at 120? Alright, we're going to modify that. So I believe then... Stop. I believe then our... so it was 18... Yeah, 18 miles. Kilometers is 30. Okay, sorry. So we're going to need to... So we're going to change that. That's actually going to be 15 at half movement. And we'll come over here. 30 kilometers per day. Based on 90 of base movement divided by 4 equals 20. Sorry, equals 18 miles. That's... Okay, that's kind of where things are there. Cool. Okay, so we're going to be moving... Basically, we're going to be moving 5, 10, 15 squares, and they're going to end up kind of probably looking for a place to camp out here, because by then they're going to be kind of tired, and we know they will not have found have found any sign of the Caves of Chaos at the end of their first day out. Where did we deal with secret doors? Because I think that was kind of a... Find secret doors. Any chance or any character may search for secret doors. So 1 will find a secret door. Elves, however, find secret doors on a 1 or 2. I think I'm going to kind of call that my tracking roll in this case. Okay, so I'm like anything that could kind of anything like tracks or something that could be there. Now, they're not going to find Caves of Chaos. They could potentially find something else. So we're going to roll our d6. Leocadia is in the lead, so she is rolling the d6. She does find something, possibly. She at least kind of succeeded in this. Now, what is the closest thing that she possibly could have found across that trail? Based on our map, chances are it's going off into the swamp. So what does she see? Does she see signs of tracks? We are on a chaos factor of 5. I'm going to say that is very likely based on kind of where they are and what's in the area. Very likely, 75% chance then. No, they're not tracks. They're not tracks. So that means it's probably not whatever's at number 1. Right? It's probably not the thing that's in the swamps. So since that's not what they find, they don't find the tracks for whatever's coming from number 1. I'm thinking number 2 then is probably just as likely. Now, does that mean anything here? Adventures in the wilderness is what I need again. Okay. So number 2 is number 2 would be deep in the forest. As they kind of Leocadia stops suddenly and looks off the path to the south. And she looks up the path to the south there, and she sees just beyond the tree line there, she sees webbing, lots of webbing in the trees, and she kind of has a bit of a she almost has a "we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto" kind of feeling that comes about. What is this? P40. Is this P40? Why are these not fully numbered? Okay, whatever. Yes, P40. spider webbing just beyond the oops. To the point that she doesn't feel comfortable here, she stops him. She's like, "Shh. I think we may have danger." Eddard behind her leans over. He follows her gaze to the south. "What do you see?" And she points slowly just beyond the first trees. "Do you see it?" "What am I looking for?" "The web. Do you see it now?" "Possibly old, but I don't really want to investigate it that closely." Eddard sees it. "Ah. No normal spider created that webbing." "No, of course not. I'm not sure I feel comfortable staying right here tonight. Perhaps we can force ourselves. We can push on and possibly, rest tomorrow." "I agree. Rowan," Eddard kind of looks back. "Rowan, Feistus, we're going to move on. This is not a good spot to camp." Feistus looks up. "It's getting dark. It is getting dark very soon." "Yes, I know that. But we can't stay here." "Why?" "Shush, you fool." "Why?" Rowan also looks over. Yeah, what's the problem? It looks just fine." "What were you pointing at?" Leo Kitty goes, "Look just beyond the trees." What is that?" "That, my friend, is the webbing of a very, very large spider. Possibly several of them." Rowan visibly shudders. Ugh, I don't like spiders. "Neither do I, especially when they're the size of dogs or larger." "Dogs? Larger?" "Yes. You've probably heard about them before." The master said before, but I didn't think I'd find anything." She's like, "What exactly did you think you were going to find by coming out adventuring with us?" Items of great power." "We're going to move on tonight. We're going to camp further along the road. We'll keep going for another... Well, at least... we'll keep going for another couple of hours if we can. I want to put this behind us, definitely. But we're going to be very cautious." "Physis, keep your voice down." "Yes, I will." "Keep moving. We'll keep following the bend. The road goes kind of in a northeasterly direction from here. We can't be too far from the caves. We'll find them tomorrow, I'm sure." "Okay." "Yes, my lady, we shall continue on," Eddard says. "Lead the way." And they decide to kind of force their march a little bit. Okay, so the end of the day they're going to camp here. I'm going to say that's probably far enough from, since the spider camp is actually back here. Who knows why the spiders have kind of come near the path. Something we may find out later. But here, whatever's in the swamp, I mean, I know, but I'm just going to kind of leave it quiet for now. If you keep on the Borderlands, you know what's there. They have no sign, no idea that that's there whatsoever. So they continue on. They kind of force their march, which means tomorrow they're gonna need to rest. It's kind of the way I'm gonna push that. They're going to kind of go into the night, and it's going to be a little more tricky. So it's probably going to take them another 3 hours, just to make it kind of beyond, right, to here. They what do we got here at 041? They will set up camp there. Here, I know that they're far enough away from any of the adventures in the wilderness kind of points here, so they're not in any danger of having something occur overnight, I believe, because it's for each square they are within the 6 square range. If we look at this, if we look at the map, a 6 square range even for this here would still be on the other side of the river. So really, they were in no real danger of having anything happen overnight. I think this is the way we're gonna play this for now, anyway. At night, only if they're camped kind of within a dangerous area. During the day, since they're moving. You know what? That's not the way I played D&D back in the day. At night, they still have a 1 in 6 chance of having an encounter. They are going to set a watch. The watch, I think, is just going to go in the order that they march. So they finally stop. Rowan's kind of whining a little bit. He's like, "Oh, can we camp soon? Can we just kind of stop?" Leo Katie goes, "Shh, quiet. We don't want to attract anything in the trees." "Well, what could we attract?" She's like, "I don't know, but just remember we're no longer in the realms of people. There's all kinds of different things out here, some of which don't get disturbed by, adventurers all that often. So just take it easy. We'll camp just a little further up. 100 more meters, okay?" "Okay." Feistus pipes up, "I'm hungry. I want to eat dinner." "Shush. We can eat when we stop." "Fine." So they continue on, and they kind of set up camp just to the side of the road. Light a small cook fire, as well as for warmth, I suppose, and set the watch equally using the marching order. So Leo Katie goes first, followed by Rowan, who's told, like, you just need to stay awake. It's like, each of us are going to do a couple of hours. Wake Feistus when you're done, right? So Leo Katie and Rowan. Sorry, what did I have? Sorry, Rowan will be third. Leo Katie, Eddard, Rowan, and Feistus was the way it's going to go. And then, so we're going to kind of pop in here, because I do believe, first of all here, we need to update our inventory. Because each of them has used some rations. So Leocadia takes 1 ration off. Rowan takes 1 ration off. Feistus, who's already kind of low on rations because he had no money. And there we go. All of them have used a day's worth of rations, and they're going to camp right here. Even though we're not really at the end of what I'm going to call the scene, we're going to update the adventure list. Anyway, yeah. Possible giant spider webbing. So, a long road to Caves of Chaos. So they've seen that. That is that's a thread that we're going to throw on there. And oops, I don't want that one yet. Not ready for that. Back to the map. Back to the map of the world. So here we are. I think we're okay here. How long have we been going? We haven't even found anything. I think we'll kind of finish up this night, and then we'll kind of wrap things up possibly for the evening. Let's find out whether there is an encounter. Again, a 1d6. On a 1, there's an encounter. Yeah, of course there is. Random night encounter. During whose watch? We'll just roll a d4 and count it. Okay, during Leocadia's watch. Alright. And that's what we have some Wandering Monster tables for. Awesome. So we're just going to call this level 1 because they are level 1. Let's roll a d20 and see what we might see here. 20. That's wolves. 2d6 of them, actually. 7 wolves. Okay, now just because there's an encounter doesn't mean it's necessarily a combat encounter, and wolves do tend to avoid people. Probably they kind of smelled, maybe something on the cook fire, although they were just really eating rations, so the cook fire is mostly just for warmth. Chances are they probably just get curious about it, and I'm thinking all that's going to happen is Leocadia is probably going to hear them howling in the night. I'm going to ask the Oracle, are they harmless? Like, are they non-violent? Are they not going to attack the party kind of thing, right? Like, do they just howl? Do they, and such, right? And not interact with the party? I'm going to call this nearly certain. 68. I needed 85 or less. Yes. During her watch, Leocadia hears the echoes of wolf howls not far off from camp. Not far off from camp. She keeps an eye out, but they don't come into the camp. Or really even within eyesight. Again, we got like a thick wilderness around them. So yes, there was an encounter, but it wasn't really a violent encounter. In some ways, it's probably the best thing that I could have rolled here. Well, maybe not, but in terms of creatures, it's possibly the best thing I could have rolled, because a lot of the other stuff is likely to attack. Wolves, however, tend not to just strike out at people. All right, we're 43 minutes. Let's just kind of move on a little bit more. So the next day, they're going to actually let's finish the next. Yeah, let's do the next day, because the next day they're going to stay put. They stay put to rest after the slightly forced march. However, Feistus, I think, will hunt for food that day. Goes off hunting for food. Does Feistus have anything that's useful for hunting? Let me just see here. What's he got? He's got a sword shield. Yeah, I mean, he's a sword and board kind of fighter, right? So he goes off hunting. Sure, why not? The rules, give at least a little detail in terms of if you need to hunt for food. So, but what if you just choose to? They're able to rest. He only has to go hunting for a little while anyway. Ventures aside. Now I can't find where the hell I... hunting, here we go. 1 in 6 chance to catch food for 1 day for D6 people. Feist... he goes off hunting for food. 1 in 1d6 chance to catch enough for 1d6 people. Let's see if Feist just kind of stalks off into the bush, leaving them, and Leo Katie is going, "Don't get lost." He's like, "I'll be just fine, thank you." Rowan looks after him. He's like, "Should he be going off with the spiders around?" Leo Katie kind of looks around. She's like, "The webbing was several kilometers behind us. I think he'll be okay. I don't know what else he'll find. Hopefully he'll be okay." Physis is going to kind of stick to the bush around them. He's not going to go far, a few kilometers out, and I think maybe he'll kind of go in through these areas if he does get further out. Does he find anything hunting? He does! He actually does. For D6 people. For 3 people. He finds enough for 3 people. Which is good because he needs some food. Feistus returns that afternoon. With 3 rabbits. He's... Leo Katie is actually somewhat impressed. She's like, as he comes back, "Ha! I told you I know what I'm doing in bush. I'm just fine out there." She goes, "So you are. You caught enough for some of us anyway." "Yes. Who shall dine with me? 1 rabbit's mine." He keeps 1 rabbit for himself. Leo Katie just goes, "Rowan, Eddard, please." No, please, yes. Rowan, Eddard, yes. Please, go ahead. So in that case, he... sorry. So they actually don't have to spend rations today, but Leocadia will. So we are going to shrink her inventory of rations just a little bit more here. And they eat okay. The little cook fire is kept going, and you know, between the group of them, they managed to cook up enough rabbit to at least kind of survive for the day without needing to dip into rations. But do they have a random encounter while they're camped that day? This thing really likes rolling 1s. Yes, there will be a random encounter. Okay, what is the random encounter? I need to get back to our Wandering Monster tables here. Okay, again, we're going to roll a d20. That is a 17. That is a sprite. 3 to 18 sprites. 12. 12 sprites. Okay. Well, we know what's going to happen next time. Next time, an encounter with forest sprites. And there we have it. And we're going to kind of just leave things right there. Next time we'll deal with the sprites. I assume that there are sprites somewhere within the Game Master's book. But I'll have to look that up between sessions here and set up whatever the encounter is going to be. It could be... I mean, well, why don't we just find out now? Are they likely to... Are they hostile? Woodland sprites, who knows? Let's say 50-50. Are they hostile? Yep, they are hostile. But our poor party doesn't know this yet, that they're about to be probably attacked by a bunch of forest sprites or something, which may or may not be dangerous. I don't really know, but that's where we're going to end things. This is something a little, just to add to kind of all of this. I've decided to try to keep some kind of a public, description and kind of running narrative of my solo gaming endeavors. So I've started up a blog just for that. I'm going to be sharing all of my session reports and probably links to these YouTube videos on that over time. We do have a bunch from Edge of the Empire that I'm going to share there, and I'll share my session reports. And the same goes for this campaign. And I'll probably also write about some of my other solo gaming stuff. I've done some solo journaling things like 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. Even though I haven't touched it in probably about 3 months, I was working through Fox Curio's Floating Bookshop, which was kind of cool, and I will get back to that. And I have some other ideas that I'm going to work on, as well as I'm doing some board gaming here. You can't see behind me here, or I should say to my side, but I have D-Day Dice, which is a solitaire, very kind of simple war game based on a push your luck dice mechanic set up. I played the first scenario for that, which I had played before, but this was a few years ago. So Exercise Tiger, which was kind of like the, which was kind of the precursor to D-Day, where they were training for D-Day. I ran the Canadians through Exercise Tiger, and they came out victorious. So I'm going to do Omaha Beach pretty soon here, and I think I'll just work through all the scenarios I've got. I've got a few expansions for D-Day Dice as well, and I have a few other solitaire gaming endeavors, solo gaming endeavors that I have in mind, including a Savage Worlds based written game, creative writing with rules kind of solo game. And I want to make that about a zombie apocalypse set in northern Canada in the Northwest Territories, actually right here in Fort Smith where I live. At least it'll begin there. Everything will be kind of fictional around it, aside from maybe locations and such, but people, I'm not going to be recreating people at all right in my game. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. You take it easy. If you are watching, thank you, I guess. Thanks. Hopefully I'm not boring you. As usual, I'll just give the caveat that I do this for me, and recording all of this is for my own use. I like the idea that I can go back to it, and if I need to kind of pick out any information, I can do so. I think YouTube is now providing me transcripts for these as well, although they're a little rough. Anyway, take it easy. Have a good one.